Europe moves closer to the front line. After White House talks, leaders weigh boots on the ground in Ukraine. Trump signals support, Britain and France debate deployment. And Putin warns NATO troops will cross a red line. And the battlefield may soon expand beyond Ukraine's borders. A package of security guarantees for Ukraine is expected to take shape as early as this week, as European leaders seize on President Donald Trump's backing for a plan that involves sending European troops as part of a potential peace deal. According to a Bloomberg report, following a White House summit on August 18th that yielded a firmer US commitment to guarantees, European leaders are seeking to leverage Trump's offer and place Kyiv in a stronger position ahead of a possible meeting between Presidents Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky. Officials familiar with the matter told Bloomberg that talks among European officials the following day focused on proposals to send troops from the UK and France to Ukraine, along with contingents from roughly 10 other countries. Discussions included the size and positioning of the forces, though US involvement in the guarantees remains uncertain. Speaking to Fox News, Trump said,
"When it comes to security, they're willing to put people on the ground. We're willing to help them with things, especially, probably you could talk about by air because there's nobody that has the kind of stuff we have. Really, they don't have. But I don't think it's going to be a problem."
Following Trump's comments, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer told Sky News that it was premature to say that British troops will be sent to Ukraine's front line, adding that the country will nonetheless play their part. European officials confirmed to the Kyiv Independent that a series of meetings among the participant countries of the Coalition of the Willing could take place in the coming days to hash out the details. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt later emphasized that Trump viewed the guarantees as critically important to ensure a lasting peace. She added that the president had directed his national security team to coordinate closely with European allies, while also continuing discussions with both Ukraine and Russia. Although Trump ruled out putting US boots on the ground, Washington, she said, could still play a key role in coordination and potentially provide other forms of security guarantees. According to Bloomberg, the European military chiefs are expected to meet US counterparts in the coming days to coordinate what the British government described as robust security guarantees and prepare for the deployment of a reassurance force if the hostilities ended. While leaders hailed the White House meeting as a breakthrough, officials acknowledged doubts remain about whether any guarantees could persuade Russian President Vladimir Putin. The Kremlin has rejected the prospect of NATO troops on Ukrainian soil, even as European allies weigh a broader plan that would combine training, reinforcements, and a multinational reassurance force with US intelligence, border surveillance, and possibly air defense. Officials familiar with the deliberations speaking to Bloomberg said,
"As part of the package being drawn up, a first stage would entail helping bolster Ukraine's military with training and reinforcements. Those forces would be supported by a multinational group of mostly European troops, of which Britain and France are prepared to send hundreds of their own soldiers to be stationed in Ukraine, away from the front line. A further part of the plan calls for a so-called US backstop, which would contribute with intelligence sharing, border surveillance, weaponry, and possibly air defense."
European officials expect the US, at a minimum, will continue providing intelligence and military hardware through European partners. NATO military leaders are scheduled to meet virtually on August 20th to discuss the alliance's support for Ukraine as European leaders continue negotiations with Kyiv and Washington on security agreements for the embattled country. NATO's Military Committee Chair, Admiral Giuseppe Cavo Dragoni, on August 19th announced the meeting on social media. Tomorrow, via video conference, I'll host a meeting of the Chiefs of Defence of the 32 allied nations. General Grinkowicz, Sasseur, will also attend, his first participation in a military committee meeting. As diplomatic efforts to secure peace enhash Ukraine progress, looking forward to his update on the current security environment. While NATO itself is unlikely to enforce security guarantees in Ukraine, Given Putin's objections, a number of NATO countries appear to have committed to doing so through Article 5-style guarantees under the French and British co-led Coalition of the Willing. Dragon said that Supreme Allied Commander Europe Alexis Grinkewicz, who oversees all NATO operations in Europe, will attend to brief NATO chiefs of defence. As NATO officials plan to gather to work out the logistics of ongoing support for Ukraine, European leaders continue to negotiate the details of a security agreement in Kyiv. Members of the 33-nation Coalition of the Willing met on August 19th to discuss progress stemming from the meeting between certain EU leaders, President Volodymyr Zelensky and US President Donald Trump in the White House the day prior. President Trump tied his push for peace in Ukraine to a personal, spiritual goal. Speaking in a Fox News interview on August 19th, Trump said,
"If I can save 7,000 people a week from being killed, I think that's pretty... I want to try to get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing that I'm not doing well. I think the president wants to get to heaven, as I hope we all do in this room as well."
Asked about the remark at a press briefing later the same day, White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt said the president was serious. She also confirmed that Russia's President Vladimir Putin told Trump by phone that he had agreed to begin the next stage of the peace process. This phase would include a direct meeting between Putin and Zelensky, followed by a trilateral summit with Trump if necessary. While Trump had promised tougher sanctions on Russia if no peace deal was reached, he shifted course after the meeting. After meeting with President Zelensky and several European leaders in Washington, D.C., Trump called Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban on August 19th. According to sources cited by Bloomberg, European leaders urged Trump to pressure Orban into dropping his opposition to Ukraine's EU accession talks. Orban, whose government is widely seen as authoritarian, has repeatedly obstructed Ukraine's European path and has been accused of shielding Russia within the bloc. During the call, Hungary reportedly expressed interest in hosting a future round of talks between Russian President Vladimir Putin and Zelensky, Bloomberg said. Trump later announced plans to arrange a summit between the two leaders, followed by a trilateral meeting with himself. The timing and location remain undecided. According to Reuters, citing a US administration source, Hungary could potentially host the first Zelensky-Putin talks in the coming days, a first since 2019.